Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS, Paul here. In today's video, I'm going to share my top 5 most rage-inducing cards in 2018 so far. It's great because it's only been like 2 weeks, but that doesn't really seem to matter. Yu-Gi-Oh cards can piss you off no matter what time of year it is. So these are the cards that honestly just trigger me when they get played. And to be honest, most of them are probably the same as the cards that piss you off, but there might be 1 or 2 that surprise you, so let's hop in. Number 5 is Fairy Tale Snow. So this is a card that's deceptive. It's tricky, and here's why. Fairy Tale Snow isn't actually played in any meta decks right now, relatively so. You know, it's used in like the 60 card kind of zombie Lightsworn Dino thing. But other than that, you don't really see it used in, say, Spirals, Pendulum Magicians, Trickstars. So you might be led to think, oh, well, it's not broken. I mean, it's not winning tournaments, right? You know, no big deal. Fairy Tale Snow is tricky though. It's deceptive, it really is. This card does not have a once per turn clause, and I feel like that to me is the most annoying part of this card. The fact that if you ever happen to be playing like Why Go Pro and you stumble on those 60 card Infernoid players or 60 card Lightsworn Zombie players or whatever, 60 card anything, they're running Fairy Tale Snow. And Fairy Tale Snow, you know, you banish like, oh, banish 7 cards, that hurts so much. It's like almost as bad as Pot of Desires. Why would you want to do that? But Fairy Tale Snow, I mean, like, it's got good stats. It's actually searchable if you're playing the Fairy Tale monster that can search it or whatever, but most people aren't, but like, just thought I'd point that out that it is searchable. And then it comes out and then it books a monster face down. So while Book of Moon is limited, this girl's at 3, and she's flipping stuff face down, like, as a quick effect during your opponent's turn, and then she's also like, you know, Synchro fodder, Xyz fodder, you know, making Minervas and Omegas and all that crazy stuff. And because they've used something like That Grass Looks Greener, which it's at 1, but I mean, there's Left Arm Offering and stuff. And there's just Lightsworns, they mill anyway. Then it kind of doesn't matter because I mean, like, it's easy to find fodder for her, and you can even like use like used up Brilliant Fusions and stuff. You can banish that to summon her. And so I just don't like that she, you know, plays such a dual purpose. She's really annoying and disruptive, especially when she puts you in those situations where it's like, you're trying to make a play, but you know she's gonna show up and ruin it. So it's like, what do I do? But then if you don't make a play, then you'll lose because they're playing Lightsworns where they have like Minerva and Omega and all these other crazy cards and Decode Talker on the field. And it's like, I don't know. I don't like this card, and I don't think it needs to be banned or limited or anything like that, but it just triggers me every time I see it because it just slipped under the cracks. That's how I feel about her. Number 4 is Baguska, the Terribly Tired Taper. I'm terribly tired of dealing with this card. What I hate about this card in particular is that a few years ago, it actually might not have been nearly as oppressive as it is today, and it's really weird saying that. But I think the reason it's so strong right now is because it's actually really hard to get rid of because traps and stuff aren't really played, and it's used in a Link deck, and Link monsters, conveniently enough, can't be switched to defense position. Whoa, like, what a coincidence this card came out right around the time that Link monsters were released. Why would that happen? So I really hate that, because I mean, we've seen like we've seen like oppressive cards that kind of like sit and slow the game down to a crawl before, just monsters that are hard to deal with. We've seen Ophions, you know, we've seen that type of stuff. But I think that with Baguska, it just sucks that, like, only the top tier decks can really even use it. Low tier decks, it's not ever really worth it to make Baguska because Baguska is only strong when it's kind of backed up by other stuff. And what better things to back it up with than annoying Link monsters like Fireball Dragon? So I don't like that it's just so convenient, you know. It happens to work well in Spirals, it happens to work well in Magicians, and that's, well, actually it doesn't work well in Magicians, I don't know what I'm saying, but it works really well in Spirals. So, yeah, you know, that Magicians can use it. Back to the anger. The point is, I don't like Baguska. I don't like that it was a super. I actually was one of those people who like wish it was a secret rare, just so not as many people had it. But anyway, yeah, that's my number 4. Number 3 is Evenly Matched. I hate the way that this card works. I like trap cards. I feel like they have a place in the game. I've made videos about it. You guys know. But Evenly Matched is not what I meant by trap cards need to be great again. This card is annoying. It's the mechanics behind it are one thing, but I'll get to that in a second. The biggest part really is just the fact that, like, who thought this was a good idea to print? Like, I know that banishing face down is this kind of new thing Konami's been doing. It's a kind of their new form of the banish zone where stuff is extremely hard to recover from there. That's fine, you know, because banish has gotten really good. But why, like, a card that just banishes your opponent's whole field face down? Like, who thought, face down? Like, who thought that was a good idea? It's like, I mean, Dark Hole and Raigeki and stuff are at 1, and those only destroy monsters, and they destroy, so like there's some balance, you know, stuff floats. This banishes things face down. And then now let's talk about the mechanics of it. The fact that, like, you know, the whole token thing, if you don't know, like if your opponent has any tokens on their field, they can't use those for evenly matched, meaning that like they'll lose everything else. You know, normally evenly matched will leave you with a card, but it'll only leave them with tokens. Also, the fact that evenly matched is making your opponent banish their own cards, so it gets around any monsters that like wouldn't be affected by traps or things like that. Nope, evenly matched can still banish those. Joy, what a convenience. And then last but not least, just the fact that, oh, well, you know, if you don't control any cards, you can use it from your hand, so it's balanced, because like your opponent might kill you. No. Your opponent goes first, does their thing, and then like I take my turn. Draw phase, nothing. Standby phase, main phase, battle phase, into battle phase, evenly matched. It's really hard to counter that. I mean, what can you really do? I've gone on record talking about how much I hate hand traps and how hard they are to actually like counter, because what do you do about something in your opponent's hand? This is the same way. Like when I go second and I just evenly match their field, it's like what could you have really done to negate it? There aren't really that many monster negators in the game right now, and I mean if you're not running kind of the niche outs to it, solemn scolding and stuff like that, then what are you gonna really do about evenly matched? And then you just lose your field. And then I go to main phase 2 and play like normal. I think that this card could have been better designed. I don't think it's like, you know, ridiculously like unsavable. Like I feel like it could have been made in a way that was workable. Yeah, but instead, it's just banish your opponent's whole field face down and there's a broken way. Anyway, that's number 3. Number 2, TRICKSTAR Reincarnation. I don't like this card because, like evenly matched, I don't know what Konami's new thing is with making cards that just mass banish everything. Like, this isn't fair to, I know like that Yu-Gi-Oh's gotten fast and it's crazy and there's power creep, but never did I think that it would be okay to just print the type of stuff that just banishes everything. Like, that's broken. I'll say the same thing I said for evenly matched. Raigeki and Dark Hole will exist and they're at 1 and we've had to like limit, you know, Kaiju Slumber and all this stuff. Card destruction's banned. And it's a normal spell. Why is TRICKSTAR Reincarnation a thing? Why do you A, not even have to control a TRICKSTAR, B, have no once per turn restriction on this card, and C, you use it when your opponent, like, you use it whenever you want. Like, what? There's no activation restriction, it's just banish your, what is that? And of course, you know, you're gonna wait. So your opponent does what any normal Yu-Gi-Oh player would do. Activates Upstart Goblin, or activates their Rhoda, you know, activates whatever their Stratos for their deck is. Let's say it's Ancient Gear Wyvern or something like that. Madolche, you know, the butter one, Mageline. And they search their card. Reincarnation. It's all banished. What the like, who thought that's a good idea? That's not fair. And I know, well, they get to redraw all the cards back into their hand, so it's fine. No, it's not fine. I don't care that they're getting to redraw the cards. They just had to banish like 6 things. That's just like uncontrollably, like there's no control over that. And I mean, yeah, there are a few outs to it, but like evenly matched, it's pretty hard to actually counter it. And let's not even get started on Droll and Lockbird. Now I know that with Droll and Lockbird's interaction, and that's not a part of my list, but I'm just talking about Droll and Lockbird in relation to like TRICKSTAR Reincarnation. I know that Droll and Lockbird was designed long before Reincarnation was, and they're not meant to like work together really. It was just kind of a happy accident, I guess. But that's still just another dumb interaction the card has, and I actually if you watch my ban list video, you'll know I actually think that Reincarnation just needs to get limited. I don't like the card. And number 1 is Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Now, I know that I've gone on record in hating on hand traps, maybe even ad nauseum, and I get it. I'm hard on them. You guys have told me, Paul, you just are salty about hand traps, and maybe that's true. But one card I will not yield on is Ash Blossom. I feel like the card really is too good. I think that it would have been better if it had been designed not quite so well. Like, I just think it covers too many bases. The fact that it covers, like, you know, cards that add from deck to hand. That's the biggest one, but also cards that send from deck to grave, cards that special summon from deck. There are things you can randomly stop with this, you know, Book of Eclipse can be negated by Ash Blossom. TRICKSTAR Reincarnation can be negated by Ash Blossom. Shaddoll Fusion, even if there's not an extra monster in the field, can still be negated by Ash Blossom. And I'm just like, it covers too many, like, just checks too many boxes. Too many cards in this game can be stopped by Ash Blossom. And I mean, you know, in some cases, it's not much better or worse than like Effect Veiler was. You know, if you're stopping your opponent's Stratos type of monster, you know, that starts their strategy, then it just did the same thing Veiler did. And doesn't even get rid of the card. But I think that it just sucks that there's so many low tier decks, like rogue decks and stuff, and just fun decks, because I've been playing a lot more with fun decks lately, where Ash Blossom sucks. If it hits you, you end your turn and that's it. And like you can't do anything else for the rest of the turn and your strategy might be entirely shut down because of Ash Blossom. This is excluding the fact that it can hit Pot of Desires, Card of Demise, Pot of Duality, like all those types of things, Upstart Goblin even. It's so crazy that, you know, a card can hit so many things. Like, it'd be one thing if it could only hit monsters or only hit spells. It can hit every single thing. And I think that's crazy because, like what I've said with hand traps before, it's really hard to actually counter it. There's not much counterplay. You can bait the card out, and I get it, that's an effective strategy, but I still don't think it needed to be so overtuned the way that it is. So, while I will admit that, you know, maybe other hand traps are manageable and maybe hand traps are a necessary evil and maybe there's a lot of skill involved with them. Great, but I don't like Ash Blossom. She can go. So those are the 5 cards that are the most rage-inducing cards for me in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. They're probably not much different, like I said, than the stuff that you don't like. And there's plenty that I didn't mention. I mean, you know, kaijus are still annoying, stuff like that. But these are the cards that are kind of the ones you see the most and the ones that are kind of the most frustrating, especially because of just the way that they all seem to be like, who thought this was a good idea? So, that's it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. What cards are pissing you off in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now? What do you think should happen to them? Should they get limited or banned? Or, you know, or am I just bitching and I just need to grow up? I don't know. Leave a comment and let me know. Give a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe if you love the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.